The diplomatic vessel, Harmony's Promise, hung in the void between Earth and the Andromeda Coalition's nearest outpost, a neutral ground where two species attempted to bridge millennia of separate evolution. Inside its sterile corridors, Elijah, Chen reviewed his notes for the 100th time, trying to ignore the low hum of alien technology that made his teeth ache. "You're nervous," came a melodic voice from the doorway. Elijah looked up to find Emma, or rather, Emahura, though she'd asked him to use the human approximation, standing in the entrance to the observation deck. Her bioluminescent skin shifted, through subtle shades of violet and blue, a trait her species had evolved on their tidally locked homeworld. She was tall, nearly 7 feet, with features that were simultaneously alien and oddly familiar. Large eyes, proportioned differently than human ones, regarded him with an intelligence that had humbled him from their first meeting. "Nervous about tomorrow's presentation," Elijah admitted. "If we can't convince both councils that the cultural exchange program is viable, we lose our funding." Emma moved closer, her movements fluid in the reduced gravity. "You humans always worry about things that haven't happened yet. It's fascinating. And you Sarathi always seem so certain of the future. That's equally fascinating." She made a sound that her translator rendered as laughter, though Elijah had learned to recognize the genuine article, a harmonic trill that needed no technological interpretation. Over the 6 months they'd worked together, he'd discovered many such nuances. The way her skin darkened to indigo when she was deep in thought. How she touched her third finger to her temple when trying to recall something. The faint scent of ozone that accompanied her species' emotional states. "Elijah," Emma said, her tone shifting to something more serious. "I need to tell you something. It's been difficult." He set down his tablet. "What's wrong?" She moved to the viewport, staring out at the star field. Her bioluminescence dimmed, a sign of distress he'd learned to recognize. "My people, we don't experience emotion the way yours do. We're taught from birth that feelings are chemical reactions to be observed, cataloged, and controlled. For 300 years since we achieved interstellar travel, we've prided ourselves on this rationality." "I know," Elijah said softly. "It's in all the cultural briefings. Those briefings are wrong." Emma turned to face him, and her eyes held something raw and unguarded. "Or perhaps, incomplete. We can control our emotions, yes. We can observe them clinically. But we still feel them, Elijah. We feel them so intensely that we build entire philosophies around suppressing them. Because if we didn't..." She trailed off. Elijah stood, uncertain. "Emma, what are you trying to say?" "Human, I want you." The words came out in a rush, her translator struggling with the idiom. "I can't take it anymore. These months working beside you, learning your poetry, your music, your infuriating human optimism in the face of impossible odds. You've shown me something my people forgot millennia ago. That emotion isn't weakness. It's strength." The observation deck felt suddenly smaller. Elijah's heart hammered against his ribs. "Emma, Let me finish," she interrupted, her skin flickering between colors he'd never seen before. "When I return to my world, I'll be expected to mate with someone chosen by genetic compatibility algorithms. I'll have offspring perfectly optimized for intelligence and health. I'll live a long, rational life of service to the Coalition, and I'll never feel this again. This wonderful, terrible thing you humans call love." Elijah found himself moving closer without conscious decision. "What happens if you don't go back? If you choose differently?" "I'll be cast out. Considered defective. My family will be shamed." Emma's voice dropped to barely a whisper. "But I've realized something. You humans, you're not the strongest species. You're not the smartest or the longest lived. You don't have natural armor or weapons. But you have something we lost. You dare to be vulnerable. You build entire civilizations on hope and love and faith in uncertain futures. That's not weakness. That's the most courageous thing I've ever witnessed. Emma, I know this is forbidden," she continued. "Fraternization protocols exist for good reason. Our biologies are incompatible in the ways that matter for long-term bonding. But I need you to know before tomorrow, before we possibly succeed, and are sent to different assignments, that working with you has changed me fundamentally. You've given me something I can never give back or forget. Elijah reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he took her hand. Her fingers were longer than his, cooler to the touch, but the gesture translated across species. You know what the funny thing is, he said. I've been falling for you too, trying to convince myself it was just admiration for a colleague, respect for a brilliant mind. But it's more than that. Her bioluminescence flared bright gold. Pure joy, he'd learned. Really? Really? And I don't know what that means or where we go from here. Maybe nowhere. Maybe we're just two beings from different worlds who found something special in the space between our stars. Emma's free hand touched his face, a gesture. She'd seen humans exchange but had never tried herself. Perhaps that's enough. Perhaps this moment, this honesty is what matters. They stood together in the observation deck, two beings separated by evolution and culture, but connected by something neither of their peoples had adequately named. Outside, stars wheeled through the endless dark, indifferent to the boundaries that thinking beings drew between themselves. Whatever happens tomorrow, Elijah said, thank you for this, for trusting me with your truth. Thank you, Emma replied, for teaching me that some things are worth the risk of feeling. In the end, that was the most human lesson of all. That connection, vulnerability, and love were not weaknesses to be overcome, but strengths to be celebrated. And perhaps, just perhaps, that lesson would be the real bridge between their species, more valuable than any technology or treaty.